Day one of restoring Richard. The restoration that won't involve it looking any better than it is. It's Sunday and I've got all day today because I've been a good husband and let my wife go out for as long as she wanted yesterday. So today, all day. Pity it's already the afternoon. The first thing I'm going to start with is that front subframe. The rusty front subframe that just looks like it could do with a rub back. I'll soon find out. But already, a slight problem. I went to drive this car on the ramps and it's too low down to start. I could just scrape the bumper on the way up or use the jack. Whatever the case, a boiled egg will help me decide. It was just about okay. That's the problem with lowering cars. I mean, they do make them look a bit better, but when you can't get them up ramps easily, and you can't go over speed humps, and you have to avoid any ruts or anything in the road even more, and your bones are jarred absolutely everywhere you go, you soon tire of it. Let's go. After an hour of grinding away, I was satisfied that it's all okay. And I've applied a layer of underseal, which we can see by looking under the wheels. It isn't pretty, but it'll do. The next thing I really want to have a look at is this sticking wheel. Oh. Huh? Wow. In the previous video I mentioned that maybe the MOT man was a little bit overzealous and quite a lot of the small issues could probably have not so much have been overlooked, but you know, maybe an advisory on a rusty subframe rather than just failing it. But I found something that he's missed. Just about to demonstrate again how this wheel's a bit sticky, but I noticed that it's not supposed to do that. A bit of investigation. That spring's not attached at the top. How did that get missed? How did that get missed? I don't understand. Well, hopefully, if I undo it at the top, it might actually just have been not fit properly. Look at this. So I'm going to undo the top of the shocker. That seems like a bit of a... Oh, maybe it's an 18, not a 19. Okay. Anyway, if it needs a shock absorber, that's going to have to be a job for another day. Pad on this side's worn down to almost nothing. Right, there's no split on the gator, on the piston, so I'm going to squeeze it back in and see whether that makes any difference. It probably won't. I suspect it's not going to squeeze back in. I'm going to give it a go anyway. I'm going to say that's a bit stuck. One more go. I don't think I'm going to get away with that, having a caliper on this side and a shock absorber. Nope, nothing. Okay, that settles that then. Normally when a caliper's sticking, you don't just fix it by taking it off and putting it back on again. So I'm not really surprised, but it is moving a bit now. Look, so I must have actually compressed it a little bit, even if it wasn't very much. Not quite what I was expecting, but that's the nature of these things. There's always going to be something else. And that's what it is. It's that there. Obviously the natural thing to do now is to put my foot on the brake, take it off, and then see whether the wheel is moving freely. I very much doubt it will be, but let's try. Oh, well, it's a bit better. Still a bit bindy though. The next question for me, as it might be for anybody else that's just discovered this, is what about the other side? Is that also knackered? Because even if everything else was done at the moment, there's no point in taking it to an MOT with that, because it'll just fail. Guess what? Other side's just as bad. And I think, quite possibly, it needs a wheel bearing. This is the point where maybe I should be having second thoughts about it, but I'm not. I'm just not. If it takes a lot longer to get this sorted out than what I first anticipated, so be it. What I can gather is that the top mount isn't attached to the top of the spring. The bottom of these bolts appear to go nowhere, almost like they've been sawn off. And the actual cups on the top of the springs don't seem to have any holes in them to put the bolts through. Out of curiosity, I decided I should take off the actual suspension leg, but I can't get that undone with this or this or this. The next thing I wanted to look at was the horn, but now I'm thinking really I should jack the back up again and check the suspension is attached there as well. Oh, my back's hurting, and that's okay. Feel a bit relieved by that. Okay, come on, try and stay sensible for this one. Now that has somewhat taken the zest out of my lemon, but I'm going to carry on because I've still got a bit more time here today and investigate the issue of the non-working horn. Why doesn't the horn work? How come these things weren't picked up on the MOT? Why is there a blue Fiesta behind me? All of these questions will be answered quite soon, except for the second one. The horn not working can be down to a number of possibilities. Maybe the fuse has popped. Maybe the relay has gone wrong. Maybe the switch in the horn itself isn't connected. Or maybe the horn just doesn't work. Or maybe there isn't even a horn in the first place. I can't even find the horn. So I'm going to assume that there is one there, and instead I'm going to prise this out of here carefully and see whether it's actually connected. That was a bit fiddly. Now this looks, oh yeah, that looks very wobbly. I reckon that's not attached to anything on the other end. Well, everything's attached in there. It looks a bit loose. It's only got to earth on the steering wheel. How nice it is to see an R8 back in the lockup, even if it's caused me more trouble today than I was expecting. Does anybody want to buy a 2013 Fiesta? It's going up for sale next week, once Fix-It Carl's been down here to deal with it. It's been quite a tiring day with many a surprise. Now it looks like I'm going to have to take the front bumper off to get to the horn, because I don't think it's working. I don't think it is the connection inside the steering wheel, and it's not the fuse because I've checked that. So rather typically it looks like I haven't achieved anything today, but I have tried, and I'll continue to try, and I'll continue to try after that. I mean, I've done something. I've discovered that the horn doesn't work and that I can't actually fix it by messing with the steering wheel. Painted the subframe after sanding it down. It's always going to be slow going, and I'm heading off home on a Sunday at the kind of time I would go home during the week. So I've had plenty of time down here, but it's nothing compared to what Allegro man did last night. He was still at work at 1 in the morning. Is that what I've got to start doing? They say you'll not find the solution to your problems in the bottom of the glass. And that makes me wonder. That's how people drink a lot, because they understand that, so they go for another one. Like, best have another beer, best have another whiskey or what have you. Eventually, I'll find the one that does have the solution. A bit like think it was Walker's Crisps doing this promotion where if you were lucky, in the bottom of the bag you'd find yourself a £5 note. Not that I ate crisps, so I never found one. I wonder if the £5 note was wrapped up, because if it wasn't wrapped up, then all of those people's grubby dabs of being on it would be on your crisps. Maybe that's the point. You open up the crisps, you find a fiver, and you bin the crisps and go and buy another packet. Which means you've got, I don't know, what'd you make? About £4.50. Tomorrow, when I return to this car to continue investigating, probing, and trying to mend things, I could be in a position where I can actually weld that patch up tomorrow. It's an exciting development just around the corner. But potentially there's an issue because this particular Rover doesn't have a fob. So either it has no immobiliser, which makes that fine, or it has an immobiliser, and as soon as you disconnect the battery, the immobiliser is going to start doing its job. And then I won't be able to switch it back on again. And I can't find an emergency access code anywhere. So I'm a little bit worried about that. There's a way around it, of course. But in the meantime, I'm going to have to position this car in such a way where it's not in the way. So I'm going to have to move the Range Rover, and then I can put it there. And then if it doesn't start again, then I can look into borrowing somebody's P-scan to get it sorted out. Because the trouble is, I have done welding before on a car without disconnecting the battery, and I was lucky to have got away with it because you can fry the ECU, and I don't think that would be a good idea at all. Let's go. Let's go.